Hi, this is Misha, and I've got another little ship history review tech specs for you. One of my very first videos for this channel was on the Battle of Wolf 359. I know it wasn't great, but thanks for everyone who watched it. Hey, it was my first effort at really doing my own channel and camera photography. This was in there, of course, because that's where it's from. But now I'm kind of going and looking at these and talking about individual histories. So we have the New Orleans class, USS Kishu, or Kaishu, which is a heavy frigate. And also on the table, I have the Galaxy class Enterprise, of course, as 99.99% of all Galaxy class models are. And I brought out the large version, the XL, because I think it really scales nicely with the standard size of the New Orleans. But let's talk about the New Orleans for a bit. And it is New Orleans, people, not New Orleans. Like I said, this is a heavy frigate. Tip to tip, the length seems to be about 425 meters, although some sources say 360 and some even 340. But considering this has a crew of 500 to 550, the longer length seems to be more applicable. We have a total of 18 decks. It's a respectable number, almost as many as the original Constitution class. Come on. Trying to get this off the stand, and it's difficult to do from this angle. It's very easy to do with two hands, not so much with one. Try it this direction. There we go. Like I said, this was a heavy destroyer, a heavy frigate, and it was lots more for a combat role. The New Orleans design was first commissioned, approved for construction in 2327, with the first ship, presumably USS New Orleans, launched in 2332. This was a bit of a test bed for systems that would later appear on our Galaxy over here. And while many other ships of the day and time were kind of meant for exploration or other peaceful pursuits, and to be sure, the New Orleans class could do that as well, it was built with more combat capabilities, at least potentially in mind, which is good because this ended up being a frontline vessel during the Cardassian Wars in the 2350s. The USS Rutledge that O'Brien served on, Miles O'Brien, was one of these. We also know of the USS Thomas Paine and the USS Renegade. They seem to have been made in relatively large numbers. We have a maximum warp of 9.3. So respectable, and a cruising speed of warp 6, or just a smidgen over. We have these two pods on the top that, if you're a traditional Starfleetist, you'll say are sensor pods, and if you're more of a military bent, you'll say are torpedo launchers. In fact, they say they're multi-directional torpedo launchers and can hold 100 photon torpedoes each. On the bottom, we have a third pod, which seems to be mission configurable for either an additional torpedo launcher or a sensor pod, or presumably a cargo pod. And since this is modular or removable, I would assume those crackerjack Starfleet engineers could take these off as well. So I would honestly say this has 3 removable pods, but that's my so-called headcanon. We have nacelles that look very similar that would later appear on our galaxy. And kind of an interesting configuration of secondary hull and pylons. So these ships went into service in the early mid 24th century and still were very much in service during the 2360s. They were discussed and mentioned and shown on screen during the Battle of Wolf 359, and probably still in service afterwards. So for in-universe canon, that's about it. And even then I had to delve into kind of some side canon to tell you things, because there's not much, because this was originally just another Galaxy-class kit bash for the Battle of Wolf 359. Early on, back in the 90s, before high definition and people really nerded out on the internet, most people just thought the Narlins was a galaxy, basically a scaled-down galaxy. For this impression, they took a standard Galaxy-class model saucer, they added a larger bridge, and larger escape pods. Then we get the nacelles that are long and kind of extended, kind of reminiscent of a Galaxy-style Constitution nacelle. Then the pylons sweep forward and meet the secondary hull right at a very truncated gooseneck. It's almost non-existent, but you can see a bit in the back. Where the impulse engine's at. And then our deflector is here, very Galaxy-esque. And then they took erasers and made them into cargo modules, or modules in general, just to make it look different. So originally, this was just kind of thought to be a little galaxy, which was fine, a frigate version of a galaxy, why not? But as modern eras come around, we realize that it's actually its own unique design, even though it takes, of course, heavy inspiration from the galaxy. Like I said, it is built with many of the same parts. And again, I think it scales very well with the XL Eagle Moss Enterprise. The Enterprise is a little under 650 meters tip to tip. Has a crew of 1,000 or more. And this one was launched, or at least commissioned, in 2357, so exactly 30 years after the Narlins, and lessons learned from this class and after the Cardassian Wars. It's a neat little class, and in recent years there's been a kind of a bizarre fan club or interest group in the Narlins class, and I am among it. I think it's a neat little ship, and it fills a kind of a vital role in the fleet. We need frigates. Not everything has to be a heavy cruiser. and I think the modular pods are a good idea to make it mission configurable. To be honest, I like the top pods because they kind of blend. I think the bottom pod is a little unnecessary. I'm not blaming Eagle Moss, this is just the model, but it seems a little, well, it is literally stuck on, but unnecessary. I think the design would have looked better without it, but that is just me. As far as the Eagle Moss model, it's pretty much like all of the ones in the Wolf 359 series. The saucer is metal, all this in the back is polymer plastic. It's neat simply because they made it. No one else has ever really made a model of the New Orleans class that I'm aware of. So, kudos to them for making the USS Kyushu. Or Kyushu. Trying to show you guys. The only real gripe I have with this model, the size is good. I don't like, though, how the stand clips onto the back here, because this is polymer. Maybe durable, but I really wish they had found a way to clip on to the saucer, the metal part. I know they could have. They could have either made a wide one, or they could have made something that slipped up here and clipped right there. But other than that, little kind of nitpick. It's a neat little model, and completes the Wolf 359 fleet. And if you haven't seen my Wolf 359 video, you might want to, just for fun. And that's all this is all really for is for fun. Well, if you could, like, share, subscribe. Any questions or comments, welcome them below. As always, this is Misha, and I will catch you very soon next time.